I really think that I work from instinct, and once I start getting into the work, I can't really say. I just go with it. I go with the flow of what comes inside, and something tells me that's right and something tells me that's wrong, and it's just instinct, I think. Yeah, even on, I think you could look back on, oh no, you're there, aren't you? What you've got in there. So each man is really doing something sincerely that he really thinks would impress a princess or a woman. I never wanted it to be a send-up. I never thought of it as being, you know, a satire, but somehow things have just developed in the rehearsal. With Sleeping Beauty, I don't really think I will follow the story completely. For me, it's probably just about a lonely princess who just starts to grow up and wakes up to the world and becomes aware of things. And in that, probably in her maturity, you know, she finds love or she can cope with the world, I guess. It is about growing up, Sleeping Beauty. It's like as a child, I mean, it is a bit like a fantasy world. You expect all these things are just going to happen, and at one point, yes, you mature and life is different and you just start taking it as it is. My father loved driving, he loved cars. He drove from Darwin to Melbourne and back twice, actually, in the 50s, late 50s. Just think I was very lucky, you know, to have that open space and, you know, do virtually what we wanted to do, really. The one. Oh, that's you with the underpants on your head.
Yeah,
why did you put underpants on your head?
Because there were so many flies.
But why would the flies stay away?
They were special ones with little holes in. that was very hard to buy underwear in Darwin. So we bought these in Melbourne, and when we were going back, we stopped at this Barrow Creek, I think the name of the place was, right in the middle of nowhere. And it was breakfast time, and we couldn't eat for the flies. And so I had this great idea of putting
their faces.
Yeah, and we used to get the food and put them up throughout, you know.
Under the underpants.
Yeah.
For those times when you may be lost in the desert, you know, Sahara or Nevada, and that hot burning sand and sun, and those flies swarming around, then take my auntie's advice and take your underpants off. Yes, just take the underpants off and put them on your head. Those flies won't come near you when they see those underpants on your head. And particularly if you have the nylon type of underpants, you can put your underpants over your eyes. You'll still be able to eat.
We lived in Darwin, in Melbourne, Sydney, went to Penang, Malaysia, and we moved around a lot because my father was in the Air Force and he got posted to various places. So we lasted about 2-3 years, mostly, in each city. My father died when I was 16, and looking back on it now, I think somehow his death gave me an incredible strength. Somehow I feel like I got all his strength and energy and I got his power somehow. The name of the piece was his number of his dog tags in the war. He had been right through the Middle East and really never, ever spoken about it, never. You know, so I just felt, imagine going through that and not being able to talk to anybody. I started dancing at about 7 or 8 in Ringwood. Went to the local ballet school there.
Because you look behind your back and stand in the first position.
In those days, that was the only, creative outlet you had outside of school, really.
Yeah.
You know, unless you went to basket weaving down at the YWCA. I remember that was the alternative. It was like ballet classes or basket weaving.
That's what
And I
Maureen
thought,
did.
I think ballet classes would be more interesting.
Because if there are splinters in this ground, they're going to go into my feet, and they're going to make my feet even tougher than they are now. Anyway, I rub metho into my toes every morning. It makes the skin really hard. Then you don't feel anything. Well, even if I did feel anything, it wouldn't hurt me, because I'm used to pain.
I never had thought of dance as love, because I had always very strict teachers, and I think in a way they killed some sheer joy and love you have for dance, and I really believe that they did that in this strict discipline.
Yesterday when we did pirouettes, and Miss Margarnigo tied my foot to my leg, and stuck her scissors in my thigh to keep my knee out, I turned like this for 45 minutes without stopping. And even when she split my new tights and made my thigh bleed, I didn't mind, because it's making me strong.
So I always had to fight. It was always a challenge. Dance was this incredible challenge. It was a difficult thing to do, and you had to work hard at the technique. Well, I started reading The Sleeping Ballerina when I read it when I was about 16, and it was about Olga Spizitzova's life. I thought, who is this person who is supposed to be better than Pavlova, who no one knows about, who was simply locked away in a mental asylum in America for 23 years? She was our role model, someone like Olga. I mean, to become this ethereal fairy, I mean, that's what we wanted to be, and it seems really absurd. To look so light and wonderful, you actually have to go through a lot of pain. So I show the two characters, Olga Spizitsova and myself. She started to become obsessed. She couldn't relate anymore to the outside world and would just practice all the time, you know, constantly. Just love acting. Just to become different characters and to feel what it's like to be another person. When I was doing ballet, I was incredibly dedicated. I worked really, really hard and gave up a lot. I mean, we didn't really have much of a social life. I got into the Australian Ballet School, then went on to the ballet company. Being in the ballet was really very much like being a doll. I mean, I always had to be this perfect little doll with perfect little technique and perfect little feet. Just the fact that dance, we were never allowed to talk, we were never allowed to cry, we couldn't laugh. There was always this holding back and trying to express it all with your body. Everybody was pretty. I mean, everybody had to be pretty, and I got to play some of the characters, you know, because I enjoyed it. At least they had some guts, or, you know, you could be a nasty auntie or an old witch or something. Anything that you could just express your emotion a bit more. I hated being the princess's friends. I mean, they were so boring. They always came out in the same dresses and you just got a different shade of pink or something. With Kikimora, I just started working with dolls, you know, saying the dances were dolls. These dolls must be watching every day what's going on and not be able to express anything, but, you know, they could almost mimic what had been going on in the household. You know, and one thought, well, maybe there was a lady living there, maybe there was a witch living in this house, the Kikimora.
When Meryl Tankard first came to Wuppertal, and when I first became involved with the work of Pina Bausch as a commentator, as a critic, one had simply never seen anything like it anywhere. Pina Bausch didn't just open the horizons for Meryl, she erased them completely. You know, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you like to do, and that's what Meryl did.
Just finding Pina was incredible. It really felt like a miracle. I felt like someone had made me be there at that time and just meet that person, because I just wasn't feeling ballet was for me. She just talked about life. I mean, there were people on the stage, not little dolls.
I'm very shy to speak too much about Meryl, because she's really fantastic, you know. I mean, she was fantastic, unbelievable. And it has a very big influence on the pieces you do with the people you are together, and it's like where you go, where the pieces are going, or what you reach for. So it was, I think, a very, very important period, the one with Meryl. Many things maybe also changed because of this, you know.
Beautiful-ish book. Oh, such a mess. God. Oh, they work the other way now. We always worked this way. This used to be a sex kino where they showed pornographic films. Going to Pina was everything I'd ever wished for, because we were allowed to create our own characters and contributed so much to the whole creation.
When I go home at night, I keep my lips really wet so I can scream, just in case somebody's behind me. And I run to the next apartment and I ring all the bells to wake everybody up, just in case somebody's behind me. And I keep my lips really wet so I can scream, just in case somebody's behind me. And I run to the next apartment and I ring all the bells to wake everybody up, just in case somebody's behind me. When I go to bed at night, I look under my bed to see if anybody's under my bed. Then I get in my bed and I look inside my bed.
Meryl brought chutzpah into these pieces. She could be beautiful, she could be tragic, but she had a capacity to be funny, to take the piss out of everything.
I guess the biggest change for my body after the ballet classes was doing the Rite of Spring. These incredible movements that were so earth, you know, into the earth. And as with ballet, you're always, in a way, resisting the earth and trying to, you know, get up and be a fairy or something, trying to fly. But with Pina, it was all coming out of the earth, and your back had to move. My body just, you know, it ached and ached for months and months, but it just suddenly this stuff opened up, and I thought, this is dancing. It was really, for me, confronting.
Pina's work is very much about angst. It's very much about suffering and aggression and brutality between men and women. Those qualities could be present in Meryl, too.
If she asked to do 6 things, I would always try to have 6 totally different emotions. It was almost like playing 6 characters each time.
Well, I think actually everything was there, you know. Maybe she didn't know yet that it's all there, you know. I think there is so much. I think you just have to trust somebody, or you have to encourage somebody to. And so she saw so many things. She saw also the different person and characters and qualities, and maybe her desire and all things maybe which were there, which she couldn't yet handle, or she didn't have a possibility how to. And she has she's fragile, but at the same time she is a very so strong will.
Oh, sometimes it was terrible. I mean, that scene in Kontakthof where we were doing a lot of improvisations with tenderness towards each other. And then she asked all the men in the company to do all their tenderness to me. I was just standing there alone, and one man would come and do his tenderness and another one and another one, another one, another one, another, until it was just unbearable. And it went on and on and on, and they'd be lifting me up, putting me on the floor, you know, and licking my ear and licking my fingers, and until I really broke down and just couldn't take it anymore. That was exactly the feeling she wanted. So when we did that on stage, you know, of course I would never forget that feeling I'd experienced in the rehearsal, and always felt it like it was the 7th time. Coming back now to Wuppertal is, in a way, it's like coming home. It's strange. So I feel really torn between, because I have these two sides of me. There's this sort of really bright, funny side, and then there's this really angstful side too. So I can appreciate, you know, all of it. When we did Newty and Kiki in Wuppertal, the feeling in the audience, it was just incredible to see. Like, everybody stood up and they were just so warm. I felt, you know, incredible loyalty, and that's something I really feel in Germany.
I met Meryl when she came back to Australia to create a new piece called Echo Point, and I was asked to photograph a show, and we did a photo session in my studio. And she was extremely shy. She was just, I couldn't get her to look into the camera.
And then I asked him if he would come out to Bondi and just photograph me on the rocks with the water splashing up, and you know, me wearing a fabulous dress. So he did, and when I saw the photographs, they all looked fabulous. So I guess we sort of fell in love after that. If anybody could make me look that good, because I had hated having my photograph taken. I'm creating a work, so he's helping me get the music and, you know, whatever, bringing me these images and things, and it's just always changing. Our relationship always changes, you know. I never thought I'd work with slides, because every time I'd seen a performance with slides, I either watched the performers or I watched the slides, but I never felt it was integrated. And I remember saying to him, look, it's only going to work if I can get those slides breathing, you know. It's like they have to perform, they have to be breathing like the dancers. So it wasn't something outside of the movement, it was really in there. I think out of the discipline of whether it's classical ballet or whatever the technique is, I do think you eventually find freedom because you've laid these really strong foundations that you can then reject if you want to, but still in a way you're using that discipline. You're just using it in another way. Well, see, voice is just really, for me, it's just dancing, you know, with all these wonderful things in your throat. I mean, you find you can dance with your voice. I really thought it was like an embroidery. It was like doing a tablecloth, and we worked with, we actually, like the steps we do with Of Doviala, the song, we said these are herringbone stitches, these are buttonhole stitches, that's chain stitch.
To me, Songs of Mara has such a unique blend of mourning, suffering, wailing. That piece, to me, seems to touch on instincts of community and shared grief and shared joy.